Welcome to another episode of Current Affairs MCQ. Let us begin with the previous day's question. Consider the following types of materials. 1. Silicon. 2. Gallium nitride. 3. Graphene. How many of the above are considered as advanced or next generation semiconductor materials? A. Only 1. B. Only 2. C. All 3. D. None. The correct answer is C. Silicon is the conventional semiconductor widely used in electronics, while gallium nitride and graphene are emerging as advanced materials for high-performance, power-efficient, and next-generation electronic devices. All three are thus considered semiconductor materials, with gallium nitride and graphene representing next-generation applications. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Question 1. Consider the following statements. 1. According to Article 67 of the Constitution, the Vice President can resign by submitting a written letter addressed to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. 2. The Constitution does not provide for an acting Vice President. 3. The election of the next Vice President is to be held within 60 days of the expiry of the outgoing Vice President's term. How many of the statements given above is or are correct? A. Only 1. B. Only 2. C. All 3. D. None. The correct answer is B. The Vice President can resign by writing under his hand addressed to the President as per Article 67 Clause A of the Constitution. Hence, Statement 1 is not correct. The resignation takes effect immediately once submitted. The Constitution does not provide for an acting Vice President. Hence, Statement 2 is correct. However, in the Vice President's absence, the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha will preside over its proceedings. The election of the next Vice President is to be held within 60 days of the expiry of the outgoing Vice President's term. Hence, Statement 3 is correct. However, in the case of a mid-term resignation, unlike the President, there is no fixed time frame for electing a new Vice President. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Question 2. Derot, Ashkelon, and Tulkarm, often seen in the news, are associated with which of the following regions? A. The Korean Peninsula. B. The Sahel region of Africa. C. Russian and Ukrainian territories. D. Israel and Palestinian territories. The correct answer is D. Derot, Ashkelon, and Tulkarm are all located in the region of Israel and the Palestinian territories. Derot and Ashkelon are located in southern Israel, and their proximity to Gaza keeps them in the news. Tulkarm, on the other hand, is a Palestinian territory in the northern West Bank. Its location makes it a site of a frequent Israeli military operation and clashes. The Korean Peninsula, the Sahel region, and the Russian-Ukrainian territories are all regions associated with recent global conflicts, but they do not contain these specific cities. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Question 3. With reference to Ullas, understanding lifelong learning for all in society, which of the following statements is or are correct? A. It is a centrally sponsored scheme implemented during 2022-2027, targeting non-literate adults aged 15 years and above. 2. It focuses only on foundational literacy and excludes digital literacy and life skills from its scope. Select the correct answer using the code given below. A. 1 only. B. 2 only. C. Both 1 and 2. D. Neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer is A. Ullas is a centrally sponsored scheme for 2022-2027, targeting adults 15 plus. Hence, Statement 1 is correct. The program covers literacy, digital literacy, and critical life skills like financial literacy. Hence, Statement 2 is not correct. It is also called the New India Literacy Program and has enrolled crores of learners or volunteers, achieved high pass rates in foundational assessments, and offers materials in 26 Indian languages. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Question 4. With reference to the Great Indian Bustard, which of the following statements is or are correct? 1. It is among the heaviest flying birds and is now found mainly in Rajasthan's Thar Desert, with small populations in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. 2. It is one of the 4 bustard species recorded in India, the other being the Lesser Florican, Bengal Florican, and McQueen's bustard. 3. Being omnivorous and lacking strong frontal vision, it is especially vulnerable to collisions with overhead power lines. 4. As a keystone species of grasslands, its status indicates the ecological health of arid and semi-arid grassland ecosystems. Select the correct answer using the code given below. A. 1 and 2 only, B. 2 and 3 only, C. 1, 3 and 4 only, D. 1, 2, 3 and 4. The correct answer is D. Great Indian bustard populations persist chiefly in the Thar desert of Rajasthan, with smaller remnant groups in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The 4 bustard or florican species in India include GIB, Lesser Florican, Bengal Florican and McQueen's bustard. Hence, statement 2 is correct. GIB's low frontal field of view combined with tall power infrastructure makes line collisions a major mortality factor. Hence, statement 3 is correct. As a grassland keystone or flagship species, trends in GIB reflect the broader condition of India's arid and semi-arid grassland biodiversity. Hence, statement 4 is correct. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Question 5. Which of the following statements regarding the Zapad exercise is correct? A. The Zapad exercise series has been conducted by Russia since 2009 to enhance military cooperation and interoperability. B. The exercise focuses solely on counter-terrorism operations and does not involve conventional warfare. C. The Zapad exercise includes joint company-level operations in mountainous terrains only. D. The primary objective of the Zapad exercise is to promote diplomatic relations between Russia and NATO countries. The correct answer is A. Zapad exercise has been held by Russia since 2009, aiming to enhance military cooperation, improve interoperability, and provide a platform for the exchange of tactics and techniques in conventional warfare and counter-terrorism. Hence, option A is correct. The exercise involves both conventional warfare and counter-terrorism operations, not solely counter-terrorism. Hence, option B is not correct. The exercise focuses on joint company-level operations in open and plain terrains, not mountainous terrains. Hence, option C is not correct. The exercise is a strategic military drill led by Russia, and it is not primarily aimed at promoting diplomatic relations with NATO countries. Hence, option D is not correct. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Question 6. Which of the following conditions must be fulfilled for a registered taxpayer to claim input tax credit under GST? A. The goods or services must be used for the purpose of making taxable supplies. B. The taxpayer must have paid the tax to government on the goods or services purchased. C. The goods or services must not be used for personal consumption. D. All of the above. The correct answer is D. Input tax credit refers to the amount of GST a registered business can claim back on goods or services it purchases for business purposes. To claim input tax credit, the following conditions must be satisfied. The goods or services must be used for the purpose of making taxable supplies. The taxpayer must have paid the tax to the government on the goods or services purchased. The goods or services must not be for personal use. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Question 7. The term enteromics recently seen in news is A. A Russian-developed mRNA-based cancer vaccine. B. A newly discovered antibiotic for bacterial infections. C. A CRISPR-based gene editing tool. D. An AI model for predicting cancer growth. The correct answer is A. Enteromics recently made headlines after Russian scientists announced it as an mRNA-based cancer vaccine. The vaccine reportedly demonstrated 100+ efficacy in early clinical trials, showing promise in shrinking tumors and slowing their growth. It is designed for colorectal cancer initially, one of the most common malignancies, and can be tailored for personalized treatment based on individual immune responses. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Question 8. In the question given below, there are two statements marked as assertion and reason. Mark your answer as per the codes provided. Assertion: at certain levels, lowering tax rates can result in higher tax revenue for the government. Reason: lower tax rates encourage compliance and stimulate higher economic activity, thereby broadening the tax base. Which of the options given below is or are correct? A. Both A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is correct, but R is incorrect. D. A is incorrect, but R is correct. The correct answer is A. According to the Laffer curve, at certain levels of taxations, reducing tax rates can actually increase tax revenue by encouraging more economic activity and compliance. Hence, assertion A is correct. Lower tax rates can indeed encourage businesses and individuals to engage in legal economic activities more openly, reducing tax evasion, increasing productivity, and ultimately expanding the tax base. Hence, reason is correct. Since both assertion and reason are correct and the reason explains why lowering tax rates could lead to higher revenue, option A is the correct answer. Question 9. The commission set up to inquire into the excesses committed during emergency was A. M.D. Shah Commission, B. Nanavati Commission, C. J.C. Shah Commission, D. Liberhan Commission. The correct answer is C. M.D. Shah Commission, set up in 2010 to investigate the 2G spectrum scam not related to emergency period. Nanavati Commission, established in 2000 to inquire into the 1984 anti-Sikh riots following the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. J.C. Shah Commission, established by the Government of India in 1977 to inquire into the excesses committed during the emergency in India. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Liberhan Commission, set up to investigate the 1992 Babri Masjid demolition and the events surrounding it. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Question 10. With reference to a review petition in India, which of the following statements is or are correct? A. The Supreme Court's power to review its own judgments flows from Article 137 of the Constitution. 2. A review petition is an appeal on merits and ordinarily involves a full hearing of the case. 3. Discovery of new and important evidence, error apparent on the face of the record, or any other sufficient reason are recognized grounds for review. Select the correct answer using the code given below. A. 1 only, B. 1 and 3 only, C. 2 and 3 only, D. 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is B. The Supreme Court's power to review its own judgments flows from Article 137 of the Constitution. Article 137 of the Indian Constitution gives the Supreme Court the power to review its own judgments or orders. Hence, statement 1 is correct. A review petition is an appeal on merits and ordinarily involves a full rehearsing of the case. A review petition is not an appeal on merits and does not involve a full rehearing of the case. It is typically considered only on the grounds of an error apparent on the face of record or other recognized limited grounds, not on the merits of the case. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. Discovery of new and important evidence, error apparent on the face of the record, or any other sufficient reason are recognized grounds for review. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Now, let us look at a practice question. Which of the following institutions conducted the Comprehensive Modular Survey Education 2025? A. Ministry of Education, B. National Council of Educational Research and Training, C. Niti Aayog, D. National Statistical Office, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Please provide your answers in the comment section.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.